Yeah, so Russia has decided to move some troops into a place that's called Donbass, which are kind of like two provinces that's kind of linked together. They're like very like culturally and historically close to Russia, even closer than just like broader Ukraine is, right? And so for a long time, and that's where, just so you know, that's where they moved in from. It's an area near Crimea, which is a place that they already annexed. And so Russia's been attacking eastern Ukraine for quite a long time, since like 2014. Remember when they annexed Crimea? And so now they're attempting to annex parts of eastern Ukraine as well, which is like Donbass. Why is Russia obsessed with Ukraine? Well, they're not just obsessed with Ukraine. They're obsessed with all of Eastern Europe. Yeah, this works. Okay, so it's not just Ukraine. Oh, whoops, I forgot. There we go. It's not just Ukraine that they're worried about, right? It's all of Eastern Europe, basically. Now remember, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Belarus, Ukraine, Slovakia, the Czech Republic used to be Czechoslovakia, used to be part of the Russian Federation, like Romania, Moldova, Bulgaria, so Serbia, all of these places right here broke up and became their own sovereign countries after the USSR fell. Lots of these places did. After the USSR fell, Poland was a place that was like thrown around back and forth for a long time between Germany and Russia. And so the big problem that Russia has that they don't like is the fact that a lot of these countries are starting to become a part of the starting to become a part of NATO, which is an economic and security bloc mostly controlled by the US, or the US has a lot of like sway in there, and obviously a lot of like Western European countries and Western influences, right? And so the reason why a lot of these countries would like to be a part of NATO, same with Ukraine, is because Russia would overrun their government and devour them and destroy their governments and then try to soak them back up into basically what they're trying to do is like USSR 2 Electric Boogaloo. That's their main goal, basically, is to shed all of like the Western influence and keep this like sphere of influence that they have over this part of the world, Eastern Europe, and just kind of hold it to make sure that there are no more like Western influences that can move in. So they have like full control as the sole like world power, nuclear power in the area, without like Western Europe or the US or Canada jumping in and bothering them, right? And so because of that, they're very wary. People like Putin are incredibly wary of more Western influences making their way into Eastern Europe.
This meme is very real.
Putin wrote an article, like an essay type thing, a little while ago, where he basically stated his he basically stated his opinions on Ukraine specifically and Eastern Europe more broadly, which is the fact that he feels like all of these countries should be a part of Russia again. He considers all of these people to be one people, which is the Russian people, right? And so he believes that he believes that they should once again be a part of the Russian Federation, and Western influences come in and brainwash the people and cuck the government and force them to be and force them to have more Western influences than Eastern influences in the area. And so Ukraine, with its battle for trying to remain independent, with it so close to Russia and sharing much of a border with Russia, has been having a really hard time doing those things, because ever since they've been able to break off from Russia, much of the people have been wanting to stay independent from Russia, obviously not to Russia's goals. Obviously, that's not something that Russia wants, especially since now it's going to be a nuclear, a power connected to Western nuclear powers that's going to share like a pretty substantial border to it that's reasonably close to Moscow, right? And so because of that, they're flexing their power to make sure that countries specifically like Ukraine, Belarus, don't won't join with more Western influence in NATO, because the last thing that they would want are armaments and stuff like that to move in. Which would mean that they would lose their influence in this area, Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, that as well, right? And so like this like group, this influence that they have right here is something that they're starting to lose until obviously they're pushing back. So basically Putin's justification is blood and soil. Kinda, yeah. Yeah. It's very close to
this
that.
Meme is
He's
very
like,
real.
He's like, these are our peoples. They're always our peoples. Western influence destroyed the beautiful thing that we have, and now has splintered us and divided our people. These are I'm summarizing, but these are like almost exactly his words. Like, Western influence has stepped in, divided our people, and now what we're trying to do is pull all of this like back together, to be the one nation, one people that we always should have been. We literally just started. We just got here. But yeah, that's basically what his thing is. Okay. And so if you're wondering why he's flexing so much in influence here, that's why. Belarus is pretty closely, the Belarusian government is already pretty closely aligned with Russia, and so they don't have to flex too much power there. The thing with like Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, if I remember correctly, these three countries are a part of NATO. Ukraine wants to be a part of NATO. And so they've already lost these guys. If they try to like, really try to invade or like destroy these countries, NATO would 100% step in. They're a part of their alliance already. Ukraine is not. Ukraine is allied with NATO. They're like aligned with NATO, but they're not officially a part of NATO. And so NATO said specifically, if anything happens, they will not be stepping in for Ukraine because they're not a part of the group. Officially, they've been wanting to. The problem is corruption and things along those lines, and obviously the issues Russia has been pushing. Russia's been pushing a lot of like strife and discord in the area, specifically to make sure and slow the process down of Ukraine becoming a not only remaining a safe sovereign nation, but a safe sovereign nation that's a part of NATO. So that's a lot of the parts that they're doing, right? And so that's why they're flexing their influence there. Ukraine has been wanting to be a part of NATO for quite some time now, but unfortunately, because of issues and paperwork, they've not been allowed to, right? And so, can I get like something, little map of Donbass? Here we go. Here we are. One second, I want to pull like some other stuff up for you guys real quick. Here we go. All right. So this was just reported about 2 hours ago, which is Moscow orders troops to Ukraine's breakaway regions. And so the Kremlin has ordered Russian Defense Ministry to deploy troops in 2 Russian-backed separatist territories that have loomed large in the conflict over Ukraine. Moscow announced that it would carry out peacekeeping functions in decrees published Monday, shortly after President Vladimir V. Putin told the nation that he had decided to recognize Russia-backed separatists in so-called Donetsk and dude, I'm sorry with these fucking Eastern European names. Luhansk People's Republics, right? And so that would be right here, this little bit. As you can see, it's pretty close to Crimea, specifically touching the border and at the far east of Ukraine. These 2 areas is where he's sending people in. Now there's a lot of people in this area who have a lot of sympathies towards Russia and like the Russian government. Russia has sent in what they've called little green men, which are basically unmarked soldiers that they send in to like sow discord and help fuel rebellions in this area, and they've been doing it for some time now, to basically try to get as much room between them and like the Russian government, them and the Ukrainian government as possible, so it'd be easier to kind of like soak these areas up. So basically Putin's plan over the last couple years, ever since like the invasion and annexation of Crimea, is kind of just like sow enough discord in small parts of Ukraine and cut them up and then devour them as slowly as possible. So his like main goal here is to shrink Ukraine and devour like parts of Ukraine as quickly as he can by sowing in as much discord and false information as possible. One really big thing that he was doing in this area is that they were sending in misinformation, right? And so misinformation has been a really big thing. Remember the attack on the 2016 election that was backed by Russia? Um, they're doing basically the same thing, but imagine like a much more upscaled version of it and people on the ground as well, that they send in to sow discord in Ukraine. And so basically what they did was they sent in basically what they did is they told people in Donbass, in these two areas in eastern Ukraine, that the Ukrainian government is going to be invading soon. They said that the Ukrainian government has weapons of mass destruction, if you've heard about that before. They had chemical weapons, and they were going to be moving in and like conquering these two areas again, asserting like military control, basically, and fucking shooting people, right? And so recently, over the last couple of days, there's been people who've been evacuating. Let me see if I can find some video of you guys, some video for you guys. Here's this. This is from RT, but basically what this is, they had like buses and everything, and there are like hundreds and thousands of people waiting to move out of this area of like eastern Ukraine and into Russia. Right, and Russia basically said, bro, they're gonna be moving in. They're gonna be trying to fucking kill all of you guys. You guys have gotta go. You guys have got. We'll help you. We'll protect you. Ukraine's gonna fucking kill you guys. You guys gotta go. You gotta go. And so he basically scared all of these people with misinformation, and told them that they're going to be that they're going to be invaded. So you see all of these people grabbing basically everything that they can, and trying to escape eastern Ukraine, this border, these like border places in Ukraine, like as fast as possible. Right. So apparently the troops are moving in. Yeah, they've been bussing some troops in. Let me see if I can pull some of this stuff up for you. Here we go. This is the footage that it's kind of bad footage. Wait, let me see. Is there any better footage? Yeah, here we go. This is Russia busing military peacekeepers into into the Ukrainian border now, saying that they're going to be trying to keep the peace. There's been shellings, there's been bombings going off. And so we're not sure who've done all of the bombings. We do know Russia has engaged in some shelling, some bombardment of these of like some of these areas around like one place was a children's school that they bombed, and there was a car bomb that went off. We're not sure necessarily who set off the car bomb, but yeah. And so now they're busing some people, some military peacekeepers into the area to assert control. Now, are they going to be staying in the area? Right? Probably. We're not sure exactly, but probably. Is this was all like a pretext to be able to capture more parts of Ukraine as possible? So probably what the main thing is, because Russia has killed some Ukrainian soldiers. Am I right? It's either 2 or 5. Was that right? It was about 2 or 5? 2? Yeah, they killed 2 Ukrainian soldiers in shelling, and so basically Putin's been kind of like poking at Zelensky and NATO and everybody to see like what they're going to do. And since there's not been any like uniform sort of aggressive response back, they feel like it's more likely than not, they feel like it's a go ahead to be able to do stuff like that. And so now this is what they're doing. As far as I know, it hasn't been reported that they've been like gunning people down in the streets or anything. It's a false flag. The car bomb was set off by separatists. I don't know specifically. I just know that what I've read, I'm not gonna like endorse anything. All I know from what I've read specifically is that nobody knows who set off the bombs, but there was a car that was bombed. It could be separatists trying to sow discord, could be just Russia, who knows? I highly doubt it was the Ukrainian government. I don't know why they would want any more issues in the area. But what are my thoughts on the matter? It's bad. Russia seems to be aggressing in eastern Ukraine and not only violating ceasefire measures, but also fucking like bothering some like poor little nation that's trying to just get their shit together after being under USSR control and wanting to be their own like nation. I don't know. Like this should be like incredibly threatening to all of us that a nation would want to do this these days. It's really unfortunate. Yeah, Russia's been doing this a lot where they instigate issues in the area, and then so it gives them a justification to say like, oh dude, we need to do peacekeeping. Oh, we're just trying to keep everybody safe. And so they've been sowing a lot of misinformation in the area to try to help that message. It's really unfortunate. It's really sad that the Ukrainians have to go through something like this. I hope everything's going to be okay for them. I don't think that this is going to be like the kickoff to like World War III or something, but I do think and Biden already announced it. If I'm pretty sure, if I can go back, Biden already announced it that they're going to be Biden said he's going to be imposing sanctions on the little breakaway areas. Now I'm not sure if it's going to be the entire area, or because I'm not sure yet like how much Russia is going to take control off of Donbass. I'm not sure if it's going to be this entire bit or just like what's close enough to like the border or where they invaded from. I'm just not sure yet, so I'm not going to tell you whether or not I know. And I'm not sure, and the sanctions haven't come out yet. So this is just Biden saying this, that he's going to be putting sanctions on these areas that Russia is invading, but not Ukraine. My bad, not Russia just yet. But officials said on Monday that President Biden will impose economic sanctions on two separatist regions of Ukraine that President Vladimir Putin recognizes independent, but stopped short of imposing any penalties directly on Russia. This is what Biden's been doing. Biden's been saying that he's going to be holding off any sanctions specifically on Russia yet. I know Ukraine has come out and said that they really wanted sanctions now instead of later, right? They said that if anything bad happens when the sanctions hit, it's going to be too late for them, so they want it to happen now. I know Ukraine's been really upset, and Ukrainian officials have come out to talk about how upset they've been about like the West the West not wanting to come in and help them, right? Since this has been going on since 2014, they said like, you know, they had the Obama administration that could have done something, and now the Trump administration could have done something, and now we have the now they want the Biden administration to do something, and so they feel like these like Western nations that they've been trying to get so close with over time are kind of like leaving them behind in their like time of need. I don't know anything about the French election, and honestly, I don't really care at the moment. Sorry. No, I didn't see anything about what Destiny said. I don't really care what Destiny says either. I'm sorry. Anyways, I want to watch a little bit of this.
Not dying down, and that Russia has up to 190,000 troops along the border. And today, Russia extended military drills in Belarus. And NBC News reports U.S. intelligence has learned Russian military officials have been given orders to go ahead with an invasion of Ukraine. Here's Ukraine's ambassador to the United States this morning.
We're very grateful for all the support, military support, political support, strong messages, even more importantly for leadership in getting the transatlantic unity behind it and, you know, everyone getting together to support us. What we see right now is all the strong messages are yet to get Russia not only to get out from the borders of Ukraine, but they also during the past 3 days started an offensive.
With me now is Clint Watts. He's an NBC national security analyst and a contributor and a former FBI special agent. Clint, Biden today convened with the National Security Council. He also had a call with French President Macron. We know that Macron also spoke with Putin today. Does this signal a shift, in your opinion, in the strategy, or is your gut
check who he is? No.
Telling you maybe diplomacy still remains on the table?
I would be shocked if anything diplomatically made a major change. You know, Katie, if you remember just a couple weeks ago, Macron made a trip, actually sit down with Putin at that giant table. You might remember, walked away saying, oh, you know, I've reached some sort of agreement with Putin, possibly within hours that had unraveled. I would be shocked if anything had seriously changed. Also because all of the preconditions for an invasion are already underway. We've seen cyber attacks. We've seen constant, I mean, almost hourly, some sort of psychological operation or manipulation or provocation trying to justify Russia wanting to invade Ukraine. And this is mostly done in the Russian language and Ukrainian languages to try and convince people locally that this is underway and it's necessary. And then also you're just starting to see some insurgent activity throughout the Donbass region, out in eastern Ukraine. So unless there's some major gear shift that's happening, I just don't see Putin really pulling back at all. And remember, they showed that video of the tanks getting on the trains in Crimea. all the while, there were more troops moving closer to the border. So the Olympics wrapping up today, I would not be surprised if we saw an invasion right away. Also, I'm not going to count out the last-ditch effort to diplomacy, but I think the U.S. government is probably looking at what are our last options to try and prevent this happening.
I want you to hear something else that Ukraine's ambassador to the United States said today. Let's listen to it quickly.
Let me remind everyone, we are at war and we are under attack for the past 8 years. And should harsh sanctions or harsh reactions were in place in 2014 and 2015, maybe today we would be discussing the rocket launch that was yesterday with the first stage from Ukrainian companies, or some other more peaceful items to discuss. But unfortunately today we are starting this morning as people are being shelled at in Ukraine.
Is she right? I mean, if tougher sanctions had been imposed back then, 2014, would Eastern Europe be where it is now?
Possibly. I think the important variable she did not mention is we had 4 years of President Trump, Casey. And if you go back to Paul Manafort, you might remember Paul Manafort, he was in Ukraine and became the chairman, for the campaign, and also was advocating for things like let's hold back weapons to Ukraine. Fast forward into the Trump administration, President Trump took Vladimir Putin's side several times, even talked about essentially Russia was okay to take Ukraine. He even created an entire conspiracy about Ukraine interfering in the election, which was totally bogus. So all of that to say, sanctions could have been in place, but if you look at the last administration, they slow rolled and basically let Putin do kind of whatever he wanted. I think Vladimir Putin was trying to see, can I take Ukraine without a fight? Will the Americans just let me do it during the Trump administration? Now what you're seeing today is Putin aggressively moving forward during the Biden administration, being a chance to go ahead and do what he said he wanted to do 15 years ago, which was unite all of what he calls Russian people and those left abroad outside the Russian border when the Soviet Union collapsed. This has been a trajectory he stayed on, and while sanctions might have slowed it down a little bit, I just have to say the last administration, that intermediate period there, gave Putin a lot of runway to get ready for this operation now.
So, but Clint, let me follow up with you. Why now? Is it because Putin senses that Biden is just going to be weak in terms of the reaction that's going to come from the United States? I mean, wouldn't you think that the time to have done it would have been during that Trump administration when he could have done whatever he wanted to do?
No, I actually thought that Putin thought he might be able to take essentially eastern Ukraine through a deal, or they might be able to set up a situation in Ukraine to where the Trump administration would essentially just let it go. I mean, if you went into Twitter feed yesterday, George Papadopoulos, remember the individual that kicked off the whole Russian investigation, was actually advancing Russian propaganda and disinformation that Ukraine was provoking a war. I mean, this is happening yesterday. I think they thought, okay, if we can't get it done under Trump, then we should push on Biden, because for the most part, it's the same national security team that was there in 2014 under Obama. I think they were trying to test the resolve of Biden and see, hey, are you going to be the same non-reaction in Crimea, in Georgia, and these other locations? What I see so far is, yeah, I thought it was a little bit slow on the uptake, but for the most part, the Biden administration has done a remarkable job, I think, in the last couple of weeks, bringing together NATO allies, trying to expose essentially these Russian provocations, and making it difficult for Putin. I do wonder if nothing else, there has been some disruption to Putin's plans. It has been slowed down to some degree, and it is not a surprise this time. We're not on our heels. We're seeing active participation by all the NATO allies. All the European countries are concerned. And you've got military force from the U.S. up in Poland. So it is essentially putting some backbone into NATO, which President Trump was always very dismissive of and questioned the need for it, or that the U.S. should fight for it anymore.
Yeah, that's also, I mean, that's a really good, I mean, there are a lot of good points that came up in there. Like I said, the main reason why I wanted to play that would be the Ukrainian ambassador talking about how they've been really upset about the West not taking a stronger stance towards Russia. A big reason, actually, especially when it comes to the EU, has been the fact that a lot of a decent amount of the countries in the EU rely on Russia's oil, right? And so that's a big thing for them, is they don't want to give up that sweet, tasty oil. And that could be like another reason why Russia thinks that they can get away with some of the stuff that they're doing, at least for a little while, depending on how far they go. Because I think Putin's pretty calculated, because one thing with the EU when it comes to making sanctions as a bloc, since they are a bloc, what are they? 27 nations, right? 27 countries. So as a bloc, they need to vote unanimously to issue sanctions on a country. And so it's been hard to issue sanctions or like finalize sanctions on Russia because there are two big nations that have not been very that aren't very open to it if it were to come to that. Italy and Germany. Both Italy and Germany rely very heavily on Russia and Russian oil specifically. And so in the middle of the winter, they're trying to protect their own asses because any disruption of like Russian oil coming into the country would spell like could spell some pretty disastrous effects on their ability to keep the lights on, you know, literally. So I know Italy specifically said that they were okay with sanctioning Russia as long as they had an exemption to be able to keep getting oil from Russia. And I forget what Germany asked specifically, but I know Germany's been very apprehensive over any like actual sanctions on Russia as well, if anything were to happen. So there's been problems there as well. So Russia's been able to get their fingers in a lot. And so since they have and that's one of the that's a big problem sometimes when it comes to a more like globalized nation, more globalized world, is that sure, like we can like sure it stops us sometimes from getting at each other, but if there's someone who's kind of left behind or left out of it, like a lot of Eastern Eastern Europe like was and is, if you have no economic reason to support them or stick your neck out for them, another power that has more connections than you can kind of just kill you, and they can get away with it because you're like, yeah, like all those people die. At the same time, I do like the taste of oil. And so they're like, you know, what's more important here, your life or my oil, right? And so that's the problem that Ukraine is having. And I know for a fact they've been very, very upset with the state of affairs that we've been engaging with. So they've been left behind. They've been left behind. Unfortunately, due to their the issues that their government has pushed back their inclusion into NATO so far that now Putin decided that this is going to be his time to come in and fuck with some shit before Ukraine can hit the ground running. I don't know anything that Hassan. What has Hassan said? I know some people have been really complaining about Hassan. What has Hassan said? I don't even know what Hassan has said on any of this. I haven't been looking at just about anybody's takes on this. I don't know. A lot of content creators can be stupid. Howdy. Oh, someone asked if I'm okay. I'm fine. Oh yeah. Also, if you haven't checked out our Discord, you should check out our Discord. You can do !Discord if you're in the Twitch chat, and it is linked below every single YouTube video, and it is also linked to my profile here on Twitch. This meme is very real. He said that there was no way Russia was going to invade. Here, let me see. Also, someone said drink water while I'm doing this weekend. Here, 1 second.
Russia war that was gonna start someday, dude. It was gonna start, dude. It was literally like, it was just about to start, dude. It was gonna be like next week, or it was gonna be the week after. I promise, dude. It was definitely gonna happen. You know what I mean? It was gonna be tomorrow. I swear. I promise it's tomorrow.
Moscow orders troops to Ukraine's breakaway regions after Putin recognizes their independence. All right, Hassan. Listen, I took there's also this. I don't care what Destiny says. I'm sorry. It do once again, as we said the other day, in the great words of Lil Uzi Vert, it do not matter. It do not matter. I don't care what Destiny has to say. Here, let me grab my water. I'll be listening to this. Let me grab my water and here. Okay, I'll be right back.
Tomorrow. Here's the thing, like I just didn't want, like I'm fine with like Vladimir Putin obviously invading Ukraine because I'm a Russian I'm a Russian op, obviously, you know what I mean? As everybody knows, like I love Vladimir Putin. Everybody knows like I'm a big fan of Vladimir Putin. Like I think he's hot, undeniable, you know. It's because like I respect any man and woman that really works hard, that really works out a lot, and like has no problem, you know, showing off their body, like slutting him to stop though, because I didn't want him to turn Ukraine into Escape from Tarkov, because Elden Ring is coming out and I want to be able to play Elden Ring when it comes out. So that's the reason why I stopped the fucking invasion. You know, once Elden Ring comes out and I finish Elden Ring, then, you know, it's okay. I'll give him the go ahead. Remember what we said yesterday? I fucking called this yesterday as well. First and foremost, let's get to the good news, okay? What's the news, folks? Are you ready for this? We did it, Reddit. We did it. Yeah, Russia is not invading Ukraine anymore. I know that like for the past week or so, for the past 2 months, they've been like, invasion is imminent. Invasion is imminent. Invasion is imminent. And a lot of you fucking idiots. I knew it. This ass fuck. This literal piece of dog shit in the bottom of my fucking shoe that I stepped on. I knew this fucking NATO cocksucker would come in here and say, seems like NATO successfully deterred Russian aggression. Great news. I knew it. I knew this fucking absolute troglodyte, this fucking baboon. I was waiting. I couldn't even finish it. I couldn't even finish my take about how, notice how they fucking claim that Russia is going to keep, like, Russia's going to fucking destroy Ukraine. Russia's going to destroy Ukraine. Russia's going to destroy Ukraine. That's why they need NATO. That's why they need NATO. Now that fucking NATO baboon turns around and goes, oh, we did it successfully. We stopped Vladimir Putin from invading Ukraine. Or maybe that was never going to fucking happen. Like I said, it was never going to fucking happen. I've never seen.
Okay. Why he scream? I don't know. He is going goblin mode. He has turned into a goblin. I have no clue why he has decided to do this. Nah, dude. I mean, he admitted that he was wrong. Ripperino cappuccino. Hassanerino. Yeah, I mean, here, listen, I can understand. All right. And there's lots of people who are like, Western propaganda pilled, who will say that like everything bad that you hear happening from something like Russia or China is like propaganda, but they get their news from like completely unbiased sources, so they can see through all propaganda. Now, I do think that America is far more on the gung ho with this than Ukraine has been. They've been out of step, and honestly, I think that kind of added to the problem, right? Is that the U.S. has been like Russia's going to fucking destroy Ukraine in like 10 seconds now, bro. Right? For a while. And Ukraine's like, hey, bud, can we please just like chill for a second? Let's just make sure that we get through all of our diplomatic issues first before we start saying things like this. And so that led to a breakdown of communications between the US and the Ukraine for a while, which allowed Putin to exploit more issues between allies that he has already. It's good that all these nations are standing up and saying something about it, but standing up, saying something, and actually working together to fix the issue are two completely different things. Like, I don't think Putin is stupid. I think he realizes and he's seen that these nations, they've stood up and they've said something, but very rarely have they been able to get something together that actually meaningfully challenge his prospects of invading Ukraine. And so he's been able to just kind of do what he wants with it. And this is something that he's been able to do because we can't like do anything about it right now. Even as this is happening, everyone's walking on eggshells. Even Biden right now, he's not even issuing any like actual sanctions against Ukraine. He's issuing sanctions across like just those parts of Europe that Russia invaded. Sorry, just those parts of Ukraine that Russia invaded. Yet not even any sanctions on Ukraine. And like we talked about, the EU has had trouble putting through anything to actually meaningfully challenge Russia, and Ukraine is just kind of like begging anybody to do literally anything because they don't want to lose their fucking country, right? And so now they've taken the you know what's really interesting? I don't know. It looks like they've taken a page out of our book. It's either that or check D's Twitter. I'd rather sewer slide. I kind of also don't really care too much about what did he just say that he was wrong? Is that it? You're still permabanned from his chat because you said too mad? Nice one. That was weird. Hitler and Putin take. Yeah, okay. Interesting. I want to see if there's anything else that has I want to take a look and see if there's anything else that has developed around here that I can that's important to look at right now. There's some more updates. Ted Lieu decided to weigh in. I know Bernie Sanders had decided to weigh in as well. Bernie Sanders said some stuff about how we should be showing restraint in making sure we exhaust all of our diplomatic options and don't lose hope for diplomatically resolving this issue without having to start shooting people, right? So he says be careful about that. Don't get swooped up into a war frenzy. I know we just got out of one war and a lot of people are looking to not get into another. And there are people on like both sides who are like, don't do anything about a country being like destroyed and it's like nuke Russia or something, right? Which are both things that no rational person would want to start doing. Bernie never misses. It is hard for him to miss. It's true. UN Security Council expected to convene an urgent meeting. The UN Security Council expected to meet tonight at 9 p.m. That is very quick. At the request of the Ukrainians, 2 UN diplomats tell CNN. This will be an open session where all member nations, including the Russians and the U.S., are expected to make statements. We support Ukraine's calls, an urgent meeting in the UN Council. So that is in about an hour. Wait, where does UN meet? Is it in New York or is this in Belgium? 9 p.m. has already moved in Belgium or whatever. Where does the UN meet? In New York. The General Assembly meets under the President or the UN Secretary General, UN headquarters in New York. They do it in New York. Austria and New York? Okay. So are they going to be here? Are they going to be meeting in I guess since they say 9, it should be UN. It should be New York, right? So that should be in about an hour from now. They'll be doing something. Meet Monday. Yeah, if they say Monday and it was an hour ago, I think that Austria is already in the middle of the night on Tuesday. So I think they're going to be meeting here in New York. Wow, that was very quick. Oh my goodness. Is it going to be virtual or are they sending everybody there? He says he's too busy. Yeah, sorry, we're too busy destroying Ukraine we're too busy trying to devour Ukraine to meet. Sorry, bud. Maybe tomorrow? I have to do a quick little rain check. The Kremlin's actions today are wholesale rejection of the Minsk agreements in a violation of UN Security Council Resolution 2207 from 2015. Russia announcement is nothing more than theater, apparently designed to create a pretext for further invasion of Ukraine, she said. Thomas Greenfield also said it was an unprovoked violation of Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity, and President Putin is to recognize parts of Donbass region as independent states. So yeah, just remember what he did is he recognized parts of these areas as completely independent. All right, and they want to be a part of as completely independent, and he's moving in to help them. So that's why he's bussing in so many troops to be on the streets. He wants to help them. What a good guy. Good guy, Russia. How nice. Putin's goal and intent is to take over all Ukraine. Honestly, I think that's just actually unironically. I think he's actually said that before. Wonder what he's too busy with? I don't know. It could be anything. U.S. representative on Putin ordering troops in. This is not a peacekeeping operation. Damn, really? Russian President Vladimir Putin move to recognize breakaway eastern Ukrainian territories as independent appears to be the opening salvo for a larger potential military operation targeting Ukraine. Nearly a dozen U.S. and Western officials tell CNN. Now, is it? We just don't know. It could be. Just be careful. These are just things. Once again, these are just things that they say could possibly happen. We don't know what will happen. All we know is what could possibly happen, and this is something that just could happen, which is them using this as a pretext to invade Ukraine more, which we just don't know. Change the background light colors. Do you want a specific color? Or you want me to just change it? Yeah, peaceful. That's what people always called him, right? That was his nickname. Good old Peaceful Putin. We do be loving Peaceful Putin. Department Politics. Senior administration reports Monday President Putin is accelerating the very conflict he created. The U.S. expects Russian troops could move into Donbass region as soon as Monday evening or Tuesday after Russian President Vladimir Putin recognized the two pro-Moscow territories as independent. The U.S. is still seeing preparations for potential invasion, including loading amphibious ships and loading equipment for airborne units. The U.S. and Western officials said Putin's decision to sign a decree which proclaims that the Russian-backed Donetsk, the DNR, we're just going to keep calling it the DNR and LNR, okay? So I don't have to try and pronounce these goddamn names, all right? The DNR and LNR are independent territories, has given Putin the justification that he wanted to send Russian forces in and potentially wage a broader assault on Ukraine in the name of protecting the separatist regions. The Kremlin announced on Monday evening that Russia would be sending peacekeeping forces to the breakaway regions. This is your invasion, said one European diplomat. If you don't act on this, if we don't act on this as we have, oh geez, holy shit, oh my gosh, the dyslexia, it's kicking in. If we don't act on this as we have said we would, in case of further invasion, we will have seriously undermined our credibility. Still, In a call with reporters, the senior administration officer suggested to reporters that the mere movement of new Russian peacekeeping forces into eastern Ukraine would not itself trigger the full sanctions package the administration has threatened in the event of a Russian invasion, noting that there have been Russian forces present in these areas since 2015, which is true. So just to make sure that we all are on like the same page. It's not like these areas were like completely separate from Russia and like now like they've like started to encircle this place that was completely free from Russia. They've had, like, once again, as they've said, little green men in the area, which are like unmarked Russian soldiers that have been sent in to help back separatists and keep control of these areas for a while. So now what they've done is just they now have given themselves a pretext to just move into these areas and try to provoke more issues. It's the same thing that they've been doing with shelling. So they've been saying that there have been issues going on. They say that there's something that needs to be done, and so they'll like bomb some areas and say, "Whoa, dude, we didn't do anything wrong. This had to be done. This just had to be done, dude. Hands off. This isn't our fault. The area is just so crazy, man." To try and poke Ukraine into doing something. That's their main goal. Just so you know, if you wanted to know, they want to poke Ukraine into making like the real first move so they can justify doing something like a full-scale invasion or like taking over and annexing more parts of Ukraine, to say that they just needed to for like safety or peacekeeping or something along those lines. That's the goal here. That's the goal. That's the real goal. Right. So we're going to be looking very closely at what to do over the next coming hours and days. Of our response will be measured according again to their actions. And now looks like Russia will be operating openly in that region and will be responding accordingly. So yeah, an assembled Russian unit to move across the Ukrainian border, that is an invasion. We will be met with severe coordinated economic response, right? There's been a big thing. Tell me what you guys think, right? With the whole like sanctions thing. I know there has been a big talk about like sanctions and how this could be like a massive issue moving into the future, because we don't like to just like sanction countries. We don't want that to be like the main thing that we just do. Like you do something, ooh, boom, sanction, because that doesn't just like harm the that doesn't just like harm the leaders. That harms like the people. Like people starve, people start to die, because of sanctions. Quality of life goes down, life expectancy goes down. All of these things that just starves out. You're not just starving out leaders. Like, you know, Putin and his officials will be able to get and eat and do like whatever basically they want. But like the Russian people are the ones who are going to suffer from this. They're the ones who are going to face the real impact of sanctions. Yeah, that's a big thing. Like targeted sanctions as well is something that we could look at. So like sanction just like the big oligarchs, the big leaders, Putin himself, all of like their operations, and not just like the country itself, and not like strangle to death the entire country. Here, let me do a little bit of shouting out. So Zachary Games, thank you so much for the 100 bits. God the Third Bean, hello gay, nice to see you. 6 months. Stinky, whoa, he called me Stinky, what the heck. Thanks for the 6 months. Kitty King 101, thank you for the tier 1, appreciate you. Thank you. The oligarchs can just push the pen onto the people. They can do something like that, right? But it still becomes like a bigger issue. Isn't Cuba still getting sanctioned by the US after 60 years of it? Yes. And it's like hampered their country like immeasurably. It is really harmed their country like a lot. So yeah, that's not something that we want to like replicate or just keep going, which is just sanctioning a country. We don't want to like keep up with that type of stuff, because it does harm people, and it doesn't harm the people that we would want to harm it, because it isn't just like your average normie Russian who's done this. It's Putin, right? And his oligarchs. Are targeted sanctions even plausible? I think they are. I haven't looked into it too hard, but I'm pretty sure that they are. His approval rating would go down. Yeah, but does that really matter?
This means
it's not like Russia is the most like democratic country in the world. I'm not sure if that matters too much. If like, oh no, Putin's approval rating goes down. All right. Australia said they're going to be in lockstep with NATO depending on what happens. So it's a very delicate situation. Everyone's going to be looking at what happens. Everybody is very tense right now. What the fuck is this take? What is this take? What's Gravel Institute? If you need any indication that Vladimir Putin is not the friend of any leftist, you do not need to look further than the speech he just gave. Oh yeah, he I'm not sure. Can we read that? Can we listen to that speech? Let's see. Pumping out bangers. But apparently Nathan J. Robinson said some giga cringe. Indeed, incredible how difficult it is for some to admit that Putin and the U.S. can both be what? Bellicose and sociopathic. Oh my gosh. That their danger to the world comes precisely from the fact that the two nuclear arms powers are ruled by nationalists who won't back down. NATO expansionism and Russian expansionism are both to blame. What do you mean? What the fuck? What is NATO expansionism? I know what Gravel Institute. I know what the Gravel Institute is. I've been there. I've known of them ever since they came into existence. I was one of their first donors, actually. Yeah, one country invading another country. What do you mean NATO expansionism? You mean a country just wants to be a part of a block of other countries that don't want to literally fucking destroy it and devour it? Really? Damn, could you imagine wanting to be a part of a block of nations that doesn't want to destroy your country? Shit. Fuck, dude. I couldn't even imagine. Couldn't possibly be me. Oh, this cringe NATO expansionism. I can't believe what is NATO expansionism? What is that? You mean like countries asking to be a part of NATO and NATO saying yes? Is that NATO expansionism? Now you're like, what is this victim blaming bullshit that is NATO expansionism? Yeah, only if Ukraine decided that they didn't want to be a part of a block of nations that didn't want to fucking destroy them, then none of this would have been an issue. Come on, bro. Come on. What was she wearing? The problem is multiple powerful countries seeking to increase their spheres of influence and catching Ukrainians in the middle. What, bro? What, bro, are you saying? Ukrainians want to be a part of NATO. How's it? What? Does he think it's imperialism to want to be a part of a group? I don't think this is just memes anymore. Yeah, this is nowhere near the same as Russia, like, taking out bite-sized pieces of your country and saying that they own them now. What the fuck? What's wrong with you? Bro, I don't know, man. Was Nathan J. Robinson, was he involved with Jacobin? Is that right? Is this the Jacobin guy? Or is this just the current affairs guy? Wait, no. Was it Jacobin? What was that? Nathan J. Robinson, wasn't he like a partial owner or owner of, he's the Jacobin fellow? Yeah, wasn't he like the owner or partial owner of Jacobin? And then like the people who actually worked there were like, dude, it would be like so cool if we actually kept to our values and became a co-op. And he was like, no. Like my man unironically was like, can't find anything about Jacobin. It was something, it's current affairs. Yeah, it was something like wasn't it like the current affairs people, like the workers were like, yo, we want to be a co-op instead of like a normal business. And then he was like, no, fuck you, eat my ass. And then it became like a big story and he had to step down. We didn't cover that, but it was some wacky stuff. Yeah, I know it's extremely US centric. Like I get that. I can understand. I mean, just the thing is, it's not Ukraine's fault for wanting to join, right? It's not Ukraine's fault for wanting to join. I'm not sure if I can call this NATO expansionism. Obviously, NATO wants as many countries as possible to be a part of their group. But also, if Russia wasn't so bad, they wouldn't be looking to be a part of the group, right? Like if the thing is, if Putin has not learned, you get more, you get more flies with honey than vinegar. It's just like he's just been shitting on and violating the rights of this like little baby country for so long, and so it's basically pushed them into the hands of these people, into the hands of NATO. Like they wouldn't be rushing so hard to be a part of NATO if you wouldn't be trying to destroy their country every 2 years. Socialist publication Current Affairs fires staff for doing socialism. Yeah. Oh, what? Oh, the shoe one's fake, but the Papa John's one is real? What? Papa's in the house? Is this the day of reckoning? Has it come? Have we finally reached it? Is this what he meant? How America founded Ukrainian neo-Nazis? When did this come out recently? 18th? I don't know. Gravel's been posting some cringe recently. I don't know, man. I don't know if it's because like Mike Gravel died, and so now the cringe lords have been able to take up like refuge and been able to post like absolute shit. But like the Gravel Institute has been kind of going downhill recently, and I don't know why. I don't know why. He'll run for president and bring the end of times. No, he'll run for president and bring the end of pizza. Pizza? Yeah, I haven't watched it. It just seemed like a really interesting time when Ukraine is starting to be on the cusp of being bombed by Russia, and now they're like, did you hear about those Ukrainian neo-Nazis? I don't know, bro. Listen, here's my thing. Russia and Nazis go back a long way. All right? Russia and Nazis go back a long way. The idea that neo-Nazis are not a part of like the Russian government is kind of stupid. They're defending literal neo-Nazis. We'll have some time to look at it in the future. Yeah, we'll have some time to look at it in the future. Heyo Shark, hello. Pizza is gone. No, the thing is they've been bouncing back and forth between those two things of Russia won't invade and also look at the neo-Nazis. They've been doing this for a while, which is saying that if you support Ukraine, you support the neo-Nazis, which is just I'm just saying that like Russia didn't need any influence to have like Nazi influence in their governor in their government. They just always do. Shark, what are you holding? Chill. It's mine. You know what? I'm putting it down because you don't get to look at it. You've given me anxiety because you asked that question. Oh my gosh. I can't have anything nice around here. Yeah, this whole like Nazis in government is not like unique to Ukraine. I'm sorry, like, yeah, I mean, they've been Nazis being a part. What the fuck did Conyer post? What's Conyer posting? Conyer, stop. Conyer, please. I was just scrolling through my timeline really quick while I was talking, and I've just been accosted by like fucking drawn bulge. Just yikes. Oh no. This is why, just so you know, this is why I'm very wary with stuff that I pull up on Twitter. Oh yeah, that one? Yeah, I'm like, what the heck is that? Show the bulge? No. I understand why leftists wanted war to happen so bad. Just to be right in the marketplace of ideas.
This meme is very real.
There's a lot of listen, there's like the marketplace of always being right. Okay. So if you say something, you kind of want to stick by it and you'll kind of want to justify that because you don't want to lose credibility for the things that you've said. And so because of that, you'll just start once you pick a position and you state it publicly that you don't want to go back on it unless you're proven horribly, incredibly, demonstrably wrong, like Hassan was, where he spent so long like gloating and being like, haha, fuck you, dumbass, haha, NATO cocksucker, ha, right? And then like 2 days later, you're proven wrong when Russia invades Ukraine. Unless that happens, you don't want to back down on any of your point, and even sometimes you'll pivot. I'm not sure what Hassan has said, but if he was just straight up like, yeah, I'm wrong on that, and let's move forward from here. If that's the case, and if he was just like, I'm wrong on that, let's move forward from here. There's nothing much I can really ask for more. I guess like be more careful next time. But besides that, I mean, that's what we want out of creators, right? Like if you're wrong, I want you to be, if you're wrong and proven wrong, I want you to be like, oh, I'm wrong. Let's move forward from here. I'm sorry, right? That's what I want, right? We want to try and be as careful as possible. And if you weren't, but you're still proven wrong, hey, listen, it's okay. Let's move on from here. We'll work on it. He literally found one chatter who said invading country is bad and made a whole roast session on it. Yeah, like he was going way too far on that. He was going way too far on that. Right. And so we have like a lot of credibility. Oh, like we're right. Oh, we're reasoned. And so when you go like really hard on something because you want to keep proving yourself right, you can be proven very, very wrong very, very quickly. And it's not something that I'm not a victim of before. I mean, I've done it before. It happens. We've all done it before. In good news, Colombia just decriminalized abortion. Freaking yee heckin' ha. Let's go. Colombia drinking that respecting women juice. Doing a little sippy of the respecting women juice. It tastes good. Give it a try. This stain on the bottom of my shoe. He screams to random follow. Not even random follower, random subscriber. Because he clicked on his profile and said subscribe for 7 months. Look at this dumbass fucking piece of shit on the bottom of my shoe. Hassan, it's a good thing that NATO stood up and said that and said that Russia, you shouldn't invade. I'm so glad that stopped Ukrainians from dying. Look at this piece of shit. Like, come on, man. Take a deep breath.